Season 1, Episode 2. We're going to be bringing our guest in right now. Today's guest, Nate Thompson from Munster High School. His Twitter can be found at Munster_Esports. I'll put that in the Twitch chat in just a moment. How are you doing, Nate?
I'm pretty good. How are you doing?
Not too bad. Joining me today, as always, also is going to be my co-host, Aaron Hockey.
Hello.
And today we're actually going to be focusing, the main topic of today is at Munster High School. They are a participant in the High School Esports League, but they are not like most schools. They have actually, I believe it was recently this season, correct, that you just started this, Nate?
The
letters.
The letters, yeah. The letters we just started this season.
Yeah. So I'll let you explain it in just a second, but just a quick rundown. This Munster High School, unlike most of the schools, they have actually began making it possible for their participants within our league to acquire varsity letters through the high school. Now you want to give a bit of an explanation of how that works, how it's been started?
Sure. So, from the beginning when we started the esports area, the students wanted to know if they could letter, because we take esports as seriously as we take regular sports. And I kind of pushed it off for a little bit until this season, where I was like, I'll just ask. It's not going to hurt for me to ask administration, and administration is fully supportive of it. So since we are a club activity and we can wrap it as a club activity, we allow our students to earn their letters.
Great. One big question that I had was there any pushback from the administration initially when you tried to get this through?
The letter part?
Yeah, the lettering part.
No, not at all.
Really?
Not at all? They're
Not at
super
all.
receptive?
They have been nothing but
Wow.
receptive about the whole esports program.
Now, do any of the administration, previous to HSEL, do any of them have any esports experience, watching, playing, doing whatever? Were they more aware of it than most, and that you know of, at least?
No, not at all.
Really?
Actually, they've been pretty trusting of me and the decisions I've been making with the esports. They've heard of esports. They've seen it online. They've seen it on, I think one of them said TBS.
Yep, that would be E-League, most likely.
So they know about it, and they understand that it could be the future, and that it is the future.
Awesome.
Great. Yeah. How long ago did you start your esports club? Was it this year?
It was
Last year, right?
at the beginning of this school year. We finally got our board to approve it in July, I believe it was. So I was able to start it right when school started up.
So are you like an official esports program within the school, or are you a club, or how does that work, the structure?
We are a club in the school, but we are officially Munster Esports. And as you know, we compete among most of the games that are offered.
Great. What is like the what do you have to do at your school to get a letter in esports?
So it's set up as a point system. You have to earn 60 points in 1 year, and things have different point values. One of the biggest point values is to be one of my assistants, we'll call them. I call them hands. So that gets you a majority of points. Being a season champion gets you a majority of points. Playing in an individual game gets you a point. Doing well during the season gets you a point. And then you can lose points by doing bad things, unexcused absences from practices,
Wow.
school violations, all of
Now-
that. So it's hit and miss either way.
Now, is that do the other things that you can letter in, so the standard varsity sports and stuff like that, do they also run off the same or maybe a similar point system, or is it just participating in a sport?
It is based off of the same kind of point system.
Interesting.
In fact, most high schools should be set up as a point system,
Oh.
and that's how most do move through it.
Yeah, I just at least in the private school I was at, I know it wasn't pretty much anybody who played a sport was there, but that's probably because it was private. That's interesting to hear, because I never actually really did the sports within public the year and a quarter I was in public school. That's really interesting to hear. That's how it works. You don't happen to have a list of how you actually work the point system, do you?
I do.
Would that be okay to share with viewers just so they could look at it, other schools, or is that something you keep to yourself?
I can send you a copy of it.
Oh, yeah, that would be great, actually, if you could do that. Maybe potentially share with anybody curious.
Sure. Yeah, give me 1 second, and I will get a copy to you.
Yeah, awesome. In the meantime, anybody in the comment section, I don't even know what I was going to say if that sentence. Anybody on Twitch right now, if you would like to interact with the live stream, you can see that there is a Twitch chat live on the right-hand side of the screen. You can ask any viewer questions you want. If you have a question for Nate, myself, Aaron, anybody here regarding to pretty much anything in esports that has to do with today's topic, so really how it operates in the high school, getting a letter, how you can approach your administration, stuff like that, feel free to comment in the Twitch chat on Twitch, or you can tweet it out to us with the hashtag HSEL Homeroom, and we can try to answer your question live on stream.
While we wait for some of those questions to come in, I had a question myself. What was your vision for the future of your program? Are you looking to get more funding from the school to maybe develop out a PC area, an actual place for the kids to practice? What's your vision? What's your next step?
Right now, we are actually anticipating some funds enough that we're going to be able to build a 6-computer practice area and 6-computer competition area. So we'll be able to compete from school for most games. And from there, we're hoping to get even more funds so we can expand that area. At the same time we're doing this, I have also launched a weekly video production where they're going to learn video production and also do the editing for the highlight reels for the esports teams.
Great.
That's awesome.
Do you have a Twitch channel?
We, with our current school policies, are not allowed to do that yet. That is something we are working on currently.
Okay, great.
But, I mean, for in school, it'll be fine to show the student body what we're doing, because there are questions about what is esports, and we want to be able to brag about everything we've done so far. Now,
that actually, talking about the student body, that brings me to another question I had earlier. Now, you were talking about how you had absolutely zero pushback from administration. Now, just the general student body, now that you've started offering lettering, and since the esports program has started, has there been any pushback that you've heard of from any student body, anybody who's pushing back either just against the esports in general or against the lettering? Have you heard anything like that going on that you know of?
Angry PTA parents?
I think that too.
I haven't heard anything yet. Now, that doesn't mean that people aren't calling it just video gaming. It's just video games. That's something we've heard quite often.
And that's something common between pretty much any school you have running this right now, unfortunately.
And that's been my main argument actually a lot more lately, where they're just as intense as regular sports.
Just as, if not more intense.
There's been days where I've been playing online and I just feel exhausted after playing. So I don't know. That's the argument I have for everybody.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, the biggest argument I hear with it, not necessarily within the high school when I was in high school, or in college when I was, or where I currently am, or it's from parents, whatever it may be, was always like, oh, why would anybody watch that? Why did anybody play it? The same thing could be said, you're not going to be making a career. The same thing could be said about playing football or playing basketball, playing soccer, whatever you're going to be doing in high school. What are the real chances that you, a second string varsity high school player, is going to go on to be in the NFL and make a career out of it? The harsh reality, whether you like to think about it or not, is that most of the kids on those fields, they're not going to make it as pros. They're not going to do it. But whether or not, there are some that, of course, are good enough and will make it as pros or, as something in the industry. But in a matter of having fun and doing something they like, even then it could lead to discovering new interests, like sports players. A lot of times when they go to school, they'll be sports management or whatever other majors they have. You run esports right now, there may not be anything around esports. I mean, we talked about it in the previous episode last week. There are emerging esports degrees and programs within colleges now that are just starting to come in. Even then, right now you could look at IT careers, you could look at game development, stuff like that. So this could lead to other interests, and it does fulfill a real interest in some of these kids' lives. So the argument that it's like, oh, you're not going to make any money out of it, has always just been the stupidest thing whenever I hear it.
Yeah.
And actually, that kind of goes into the whole why we're a club. Originally, I just wanted to have like a technology club at the school. And then as students found out that I play games, they're like, well, what about esports? And I said, well, we could do it based on that. And then we just spun it into what we are now.
So so your club originally started as more of like just a general tech club?
Yeah, my original idea for the club was just to be a tech club where they could come and like a maker space. And now
Awesome.
it's morphed into this esports area.
It's big esports area. Honestly, just listening on how it is, it's probably one of the biggest in HSEL right now in terms of opportunities for the students, in terms of being able to get the varsity letters and something like that. So it's, your club is, definitely set aside from a lot of the ones we've had. So that's actually pretty amazing that it just started as, it's just going to be a general tech club, and it's morphed into something right now that's really the way it is in such a short period of time.
Yeah, it's been amazing and stressful all at the same time. But these kids have really stepped up, and they've really shown me that they want this to succeed.
Yeah, and I can definitely tell you that's amazing and stressful is definitely the description from both sides of things. It's awesome to do, but there's definitely stress involved in it. It is just like running any of the sports programs. You have the competition side of things that's going to stress you out trying to get things done like that. But in the end, it's worth it. It's fun. It's get things done. You have the opportunity for the scholarships. The first nationals, a $50K prize pool over 5 games. There are real opportunities out there for these kids.
Yeah, I actually had one question coming back to the lettering program and your club. Have you noticed like an increase in activity and student involvement from the club itself, like an improvement in grades, improvement in attendance?
I haven't noticed it yet, but I haven't actually been tracking it all that much yet.
Okay.
Starting with this season and next season, I'm starting to put into place some ways to track that. And then for next year, it will be 100% tracked. So I'll be able to see moving forward how this is affecting these students, because a lot of these students didn't have this opportunity before. Now it's available. I want to see if it's adding a positive aspect to their life.
Right.
Yeah, and that's I think that's something we hope to be able to track natively on our platform in the future. We don't have it right now, obviously, but we are working on adding features. But it would be definitely interesting to hear that, maybe follow up on that within a certain time frame to really see if there's been a big increase now that these varsity letters are available. And even in general clubs, offering these incentives, if that does improve the grades, if it does improve their dedication and motivation to come to the club. So that would actually be something very interesting to see. We look at it now. There's, because it's so new, a lot of schools are hesitant to add stuff like this. Obviously yours isn't as hesitant. They've been fully supportive. But within the next year, by the time we get to the second season of majors, it'd be interesting to see the statistics from the players who are here now and those same players who are in the second season, if there's been any sort of change.
I definitely have a feeling there's going to be a change.
Oh yeah, no, 100%.
I see this as positive for most of the kids that are in it.
Yeah. And just real quick, we did have a viewer question regarding the point system. I'm sure it's different between every school and exactly how they do it, but Aroma in the Twitch chat is asking, do seniors still have time to get 60 points even though they are already halfway through the school year?
Well, funny thing about that is when we finalized the lettering on Tuesday or Wednesday, I said, can we backdate this to the beginning of the year? And it turns out we can. So anything they've played in so far this year will count towards a letter, which actually gets me 2 people already lettered for the year.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And is there a prediction on how many you may have lettered by the end of the year?
I'm pretty sure the entire Rocket League team will letter.
Oh, wow.
That since they won the holiday majors, that's already 20 points plus in-game participation. They should letter based off of that.
Based off of that alone. Wow, that's awesome.
And then some of the seniors that have been my hands, basically, should be able to letter.
That's really cool. That's actually amazing that we've heard that.
I wish I could have lettered when I was in high school for playing esports.
Right? When I was in high school, it was you only lettered in sports.
Yeah.
There wasn't even academic lettering or music lettering when I was in high school. So this is
my
I'm all new to this lettering thing. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, honestly, I have no clue how it works because when I was in high school, you only could letter for sports.
Yeah, I mean, I
was a nerd.
No, I mean, I have how many did I have? I had two letters in my high school for golf and swimming, and then a few pins. But it was always only sports. I mean, even I brought up the idea while my last twice. I did it twice my junior year, and then I did it a couple times my senior year. I brought up the idea of a gaming or an esports club, and it was immediately shot. Unfortunately, it was immediately shot down at my high school, my private high school, because they claim it has to be beneficial to the students. Gaming is just gonna that's just an excuse for you guys to game. I was like, no, it's not. Like, this is it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I wasn't able to push that before I left, and my school I did not enjoy. I have they messed around a lot, so. I mean, unfortunately, that is the pushback with a lot of schools, though, is a lot of them are saying that, we're going to have the, this is just an excuse to gaming. How do you approach, I mean, have you had any, when you first introduced this idea, were there any parents that were skeptical? I mean, we talked about, the angry PTO parents, but have you had any parents that have maybe denied kids the ability to play just because they think this is it, or they've been very skeptical about it, especially when there's a league fee involved?
Actually, just last night, in the middle of a match, a parent contacted me and said she's worried about her son's grades because he's missed a couple days of school, missed a couple assignments, and she wants my assurance that we're going to keep his grades up. And now he's playing all these games on top of it. And since they're just viewed as video games, there's that concern. I'm sitting here over Discord talking to a parent saying, you have my word that we will definitely work to get his grades back to where they need to be. So parents still see this as just video games. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I get a little, I don't want to say irritated, but you have to take parents' minds and kind of say, look, they're not going to excel in this sport, but they can excel here. Let's give them this chance.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, the existing sports structure, it's really hard to get recruited, get to a college, and even get a scholarship for like track and field or football or anything like that. It's really hard to get involved with the college and get recruited. Esports, it's so new. There's a huge demand for players. We're running a high school league that offers scholarships. I don't know very many leagues that do that already. There's just so much opportunity for these kids, and it's really hard to get these parents to see it sometimes, and these schools to see it sometimes. There's so much more opportunity than the existing sports industry around high school students and college students.
Yeah, and I think part of the problem is that even looking at some of the schools that are participating in our league, a lot of this information isn't necessarily broadcasted and relayed to the parents. A lot of it is just the kids or the teacher who discovers this, or both, whoever discovers HSEL and brings it to the school. They would, the school would be like, oh yeah, we can do this, or they'd shut it down immediately depending on what it is. But very few of them actually blast out that information to the parents. The kids will just go home and be like, hey, I'm joining this club. Here's it's a gaming club. I join a team and we play. This is like what the league fee is. Can you pay that for me? Some will be like, no, you're on your own. You have to pay for that. Or yeah, I'll pay for it. A lot of them will not do the independent research and information. I've actually had a call from one before, asking, like, because he just saw this charge on his credit card, because apparently the kid didn't tell him. That's always fun. But yeah, the kid didn't actually tell the parent what it was. He just signed up for it, paid his fees, and has been playing. it turned out the kid, the club had dissolved, but he never canceled his subscription, that sort of thing. But the parent had no clue what it was, even though he had been on subscription for, I think, 3 or 4 months at that point. So I think part of the problem is that the schools aren't relaying this and they aren't advertising it to these parents, saying, here's the information we have. Like, this is what they could be earning. They really don't push it at all.
Sure. And actually for me, we've had 3 or 4 parent meetings where we've invited parents to come in and just talk about what we're doing and what the benefits are of it.
That's awesome.
We also just launched our Esports website to keep parents updated of what's going on, what the standings are, what the club is doing, what the kids are doing. So I try to keep our parents informed. That way they can see what is actually going on instead of keeping it a mystery. I think the more we showcase this stuff, the better off communication with parents is going to be, communication with the public, and those are the people that we need to be involved and see that this is a positive thing and not so much kids just sitting at home playing a game. They're interacting online with other kids and improving their communication skills and improving their teamwork skills because they have to work as a team.
Now, that's 100% what should be happening, and unfortunately that isn't happening much. Now, looking at other schools that aren't necessarily offering these letters to the schools that aren't, having these issues, a parent pushback, do you think it's a simple solution of saying, like, listen, like, parents, this is what they could be making? Do you think that would solve a lot of these issues if the parents could really just simply see the stuff?
Not necessarily, because there's a lot of parents who are set on it's just a video game.
That's true.
So it's really getting them to change their mind, and that's a hard sell for a lot of people.
Now, do you think there is an easy solution to just speaking generally, to flip these parents who are just so heart set on it is a video game? They're just doing this because the way they grew up is this was non-existent. Esports is really only, speaking realistically, it's only been a viable thing to actually build a career out of it since maybe 2012, picked up really in 2013, 2014. That's really when it became possible to have a career out of it, with the exception of a couple teams like NIP were one of the very first esports teams out there to be able to offer real salaries for their players. But this is something they never grew up with, and it's just so hard to understand.
That. I mean, the StarCraft scene had a lot of paid players and big prize pools in South Korea, so I would challenge that.
Was it viable though?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes. StarCraft
really viable. StarCraft was very, very, very viable.
Oh well, going back then, I mean, either way, it wasn't.
They were legends in South Korea.
Oh, well, either way, it wasn't available, 20 years ago, whatever it may be, when the parents were growing up.
That's
But sticking on that, I mean, is there, going back to the question, is there really any simple solution to flipping at least the majority of these parents and allowing them to at least give their kids a chance and say, listen, this is like a real thing? Or is it, harder than it may seem?
I honestly think it's harder than it may seem. I've had a lot of success and a lot of good luck with this, and I know that's not something we want to hear, but I think as programs like mine and programs like other people in the HSEL build out, and then people start seeing these scholarship opportunities come in and kids starting to be successful, then I think we'll see a lot of growth from there. But starting out, you really just need those clubs that can get you that nice basic support.
Yeah, definitely. And I see a question that just popped up in chat. Not really 100% relevant to this, but again from Aroma, he's asking that if we believe that broadcasting these games can get the attention of semi-pro teams or professional recruiters. Just to flip that, I'm gonna just twist that question a little bit. Go towards. God, my phone is going crazy. Sorry. Flip that towards college or anybody else, because we will actually have somebody on who we'll be announcing shortly next week. We'll be able to answer that question a bit better for you. But just to spin off that just a little bit to bring it back to high school is, do you have college recruiters looking at you guys? Are your I'm like blanking on what they're called now. The people who help the high school kids get into college, from the high school. I'm blanking on what they're called. Oh man. But I mean, are our high schools it's been a while. I haven't done that for a while. But I mean, are high schools communicating with college reps within, NACE schools or any other colleges
I've
with
had
Esports programs?
I've had a couple colleges contact me about some players. Outside of that, I haven't really heard or seen anything.
Okay.
So, I mean, not yet, but I think because we're not actively streaming yet, when we do, I think we'll see a sharp increase.
See a lot more.
Just with streaming, you get that visualization.
Yeah.
Then, and they can actually see what's going on instead of just hearing what's going on.
Yeah, and HSEL, we try to stream as many matches as we can. We're going to be getting back on a regular schedule starting next week. Now that the majors are all, any issues are, with seeding and whatever may happen. Once everything's ironed out and good to go, once teams are actually comfortable in the matches, we're going to get everything going again. We try to stream as much as we can, but we have one or two broadcasters. We have one channel. We're hoping to potentially launch more in the future, but as of right now, we have one channel. So do you think that having high schools start to be able to stream and start to stream matches, do you think that will help looking at recruiting and helping get these kids scouted and create more opportunities, or you think it's just going to be something out there really only for the high schools?
No, I streaming I think is going to be key for all high schools, and I don't know how many schools are actively streaming, but I know the number is really low because we are looking for people to base our streaming off of. So, in my opinion on this subject, I have a real strong opinion that we should be streaming, because not only are we getting our kids out there and people are seeing them and recruiters are seeing them, semi-pro teams are seeing them, pro teams are seeing them, but we can also get a little bit of revenue from that and help.
Oh yeah, especially through HCL offers the ability to have a partner channel. Once you get streaming and you meet the minimum requirements, you can get out there, you can have the monetization, you can have everything on there to make a little bit of revenue. So that's definitely a solid argument. And like you said with recruiting, just to tie this into how traditional sports are, you have recruiters that can come to the games, who can watch these players play. In a traditional sport, you can't really do that within an esport unless you do have these streams. I mean, you can sit behind a computer and watch them, but it's not the same as actually watching the game, seeing what's happening on both sides and seeing how they're reacting. So I definitely agree with you. Streaming, once it's available, or at least recording the matches and making them available for recruiters, either on a private page or a public page, wherever it may be. That is 100% going to be key in getting these kids recruited and getting them at least scouted and noticed.
Yeah. I can't add any more to that. Yes.
Just yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, there really is. There's very little counter argument too. I mean, the only thing I could think of is like, oh, you're putting the kids on the internet, but it's like, yeah, but like you're putting their public game profiles that anybody can view anyway. It's not any different if they're on this platform. It's not like we're plastering their face, name, and address everywhere, saying like, hey, this is the kid, this is all of his information. It's like you're looking at an in-game name. Like if like for me, if I'm streaming online and you can only see like Critter, like I'm different because I plaster my stuff everywhere just because of the nature of my online profile and what I do. But like any standard high school kid isn't going to have their first name and last name plastered all over their stuff. And I feel like that's a big worry and a big thing when it comes to pushback from parents is the online realm of things, because they are playing these online multiplayer games and they do think that with the possibility of like, unfortunately, the way they're grown up, back in like even 5-6 years ago, it was always, be careful on the internet, don't talk to strangers. Nowadays, nowadays you use the internet to summon strangers to get in their car. That's Uber. So the landscape's completely changed online. And unfortunately, the way my parents were is like, if you're talking to somebody on the internet, they're dangerous, and that's just not the case.
Still need to be careful, though.
Yeah, still be careful. Don't just be like, "Hey, here's my social." Like, you're all good guys. I trust you. Like, definitely be careful. But it's not like it's not a lawless land where everybody's trying to come after you.
And the internet has changed so much in the past 5 years.
Oh, so much
that I don't know that people my age or even my parents' age understand how fast it's changed and how much it has changed and how much of these students are already online, and any information they could get from a screen is already available. Mm-hmm. This would be a minor part of what is available online for them. Even if you know just somebody's username, you can just do a quick Google search about them.
Yeah,
no, it's up. And I'm not trying to be negative about it. I just parents need to understand that their kids' lives have been online pretty much their entire life now.
Yeah, you can't. You can't avoid being online at this point. Like, the only way you can avoid having anything about you online, even if it's the smallest thing, there's something about you online. Unless you've been living in the woods with no internet, once you create any account online, it's there. You can Google search it; it's gonna pop up somewhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that is probably one of the biggest things, besides the whole like you can't make money sort of thing, is that the parents think, oh, this is online and online equals bad. That's not 100% their fault. That is a little bit of them not necessarily willing to adapt to times, but it's also the way they were like brought up themselves. Some of them didn't. The internet was a newer thing. It was a very newer thing, and it definitely wasn't what it is now.
No.
So,
not at all.
Not a single. I mean, I still remember when I was a kid. I'm only 20, and I remember when the internet was so like barely like. I remember when YouTube first came out. I remember like YouTube used to be originally marketed towards businesses. If I remember correctly, I think you had to have you had to get in contact with Google and YouTube. You had to like verify business and stuff. It was an advertising platform, and it was a platform originally built for businesses. And we look at it now, it is not that at all. So stuff on websites, everything about the internet's changed. You don't have to wait years to download the newest Counter-Strike 1.6 update, and then wait a couple more days for everybody else to download it. Everybody on the internet isn't trying to scam you, and it is a changed landscape.
Now, I kind of wanted to circle back to the lettering, coming back onto topic just a little bit. Just a little bit. As far as you know, this is the first I've ever heard of a high school lettering out in the United States for esports. Is that are you the first school to do this?
I believe we are, but I'm not 100% sure. I've not seen any other schools doing it.
Yeah, from what I know, you at least are within HSEL.
Yeah, at least within the HSEL. I've done like a big Google search trying to find any press releases of high schools that have lettered out. I couldn't find anything. I found officially funded programs in high schools and stuff like that, but nothing regarding lettering. So this is something that's really new and awesome that you're bringing to the high school landscape.
Yeah, and that's been my thing with this whole program. It's like we're one of the first in Indiana to have an esports program. We're one of the first to have a dedicated area for esports, which is coming up soon. We're one of the first, well, probably the first to have lettering for esports.
Yeah,
we're really cutting edge right now, and I'm like super proud about all of this. And I know the kids are all proud, and everybody's just been supportive, and it's just been great. It's just great.
That's great. I know you mentioned that you had, a lot of support from the school, bringing esports into the school. What was like your biggest hurdle that you had to overcome to create the program?
It's social media, and it still is social media. That's our biggest. I don't want to like get stuck on that. That's our biggest thing right now.
Gotcha. What would be your biggest piece of advice to give an organizer looking to make the esports club official at the school?
Just get with your admin, get their support, talk to people, get parents on board, just try to make it a positive experience instead of, oh, they want to play video games. Roll it into something big. They can get scholarships. They can learn teamwork. These are non-traditional kids that are getting these new opportunities to do things like play against other schools or get those scholarship opportunities and then learn the teamwork, because these are kids that maybe on the fringe and maybe don't have a whole lot of other outlets. So once we give them this opportunity, you can spin it from there.
Yeah, I totally agree.
100%.
I kind of noticed that as well. Like a lot of the students that we talk to through the high school esports league, they don't really have any idea on how a high school league or a regular sports league is run. And so it's kind of interesting trying to explain all these different facets and stuff that run the league. Essentially, they kind of haven't had that experience before. So I think this is kind of a really good thing that we're bringing these people, all these students, into an organization where they can communicate with other students, participate nationally with other students, and also be involved within the school and have some sort of teacher to support what they're doing at home anyways. So it's pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah, I mean, 100% is. And, just going back to, just real quick, circling just a little bit back to when you just mentioned, how they can, contacting the administrators, talking to administrators is the way to go. You can reach out to us too. You email any of us, you come into our Discord and ask us any questions about how to approach the administrators. We're happy to help you, put together. We're not going to baby you through the whole thing, but we can definitely give you a plan and say, listen, this is the information we have. This is what you could be doing. Make sure you show them this.
Too.
Yeah, exactly. No, especially if you're a student.
We have a lot of students asking for advice, how they can even approach the principal. We give them talking points, different things to kind of help the conversation flow with the administration or the teacher that they're trying to get on board to advocate for them.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
we're a really outstanding resource, and you can reach out to other teachers as well within our community that are willing to help.
Yeah,
I'm willing to help anybody who contacts me.
Yeah, I didn't want to volunteer you up. Throw up your
everybody
Twitter
message Nate.
Yeah, Nate knows everything.
Nate gets 2,000 messages from everybody. But definitely, I mean, if you go into our Discord, we actually just broke 2,000 members. I think we're probably at 2,100 as of today. If I had to guess, we were at 2,090 something yesterday. So there are so many participating students in that channel. We have college recruiters in there from, I think we have decent. I don't know how many we have in there right now, but we have a decent amount of college recruiters in there. We have a Discord specifically for the organizers, for all of them to come in to coordinate. So we have so many resources there. Of course, you can contact us on Twitter. Mine is below. Aaron's is below. The official one is HSEL Esports. And then you can even email us, partner@highschoolesportsleague.com, if you want to contact us there. Like, there's so many ways to get in contact and get so much help. Through HSEL specifically, you can, make sure you join. You reach out to us if you have any sort of issues, you need any help in even getting the program started. We're not going to look you up and see if you're paying before we help you. Our goal is to get as many people involved in esports as we can.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to reach out.
I think that is all the questions I had for Nate. Is there any closing statements that you guys wanted to make?
That's pretty much it for me.
Yeah, I don't really have anything else.
Nate, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Nate Show. Find me at esports.munster.us. That takes you right to our school's esports team site.
Great. Well, Brennan,
Right.
do you want to wrap it up?
Yeah, guys, thank you for watching. This has been Season 1, Episode 2 of Homeroom. Nate, thank you for coming out and talking about your program.
No problem.
And yeah, be sure you guys tune in next week as we are going to be having a very special guest. We are going to be having the president of NRG Esports on our show to talk about, we're going to circle it back a little bit of what we talked about last week. We had a couple college recruiters on. We had Patrick, we had Joseph from their respective schools, and we talked about college recruiting. We're going to go a bit more in detail about professional recruiting and, recruiting out of high school, recruiting out of college. So be sure to tune in for that, as that is going to be a pretty good episode. Again, if you guys have not already, be sure to follow our social media at HSEL Esports on Twitter. Follow us on Twitch here to get notified whenever we go live. If you're feeling generous, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We have 4 awesome emotes popping up in chat right there. My personal favorite is the oof one, although the one of my face looks very good. But yeah, be sure to join our Discord. It's going to be discord.gg/HSEL is officially partnered to Discord. And of course, speaking of partners, be sure to go down, check out our partners, which you can see right down below Aaron there. We got Discord, Twitch, Twitch Student, Dream Fuel, Sector 6 Apparel is for whatever reason not in there, but they are with us. And recently we just started working with Nace, so be sure you guys do check them out. They're all awesome companies. Aaron throwing on the quick plug hat. But yeah, guys, thank you for watching. We'll be back next Friday with another episode. Bye-bye.